Yeah, so I'm a co-founder at Revent, and we're building Australia's smartest business transaction account. It's designed for freelancers, SMEs, and tech startups. So the reason why we came up with this idea was that in the past I launched a technology company, and we found it really difficult to get powerful tools to manage our finances at a low cost. And one of the really key reasons for this was that banks in Australia, or generally, have failed freelancers and SMEs. In fact, they're so bad, they're regarded so badly by the Australian public in general that 1.4 million Australians have said that they're looking for an alternative to the big four banks. And there's been a few alternatives that have been made available in the personal banking market, like Exinja and Volt. However, there's still no non-traditional business banking alternative available to Australian businesses. And when we really drilled into these issues, there's some clear issues with the way that businesses interact with bank accounts. So firstly, it takes about 5 to 7 days to make the first transaction on your company account. So that takes into account 1 minute that it takes, so 1 day that it would take to do a manual identity check, and then it might take about 5 days to actually get a physical card in the mail that you can transact on. We also found that over 40% of businesses manually provide their financial details to a lender when they apply for credit. And this was indicative of a really substantial barrier between businesses and financiers. So we're introducing Revent, and on Revent, you can create your company, register an ABN if you need to do that, and then we'll have a business transaction account ready for you to use. And then we have some workflows which are AI assisted, which help you stay compliant and manage your books. We then can take this data and we can use it to accelerate the process of applying for credit in the future. And we're launching our business registration in advance of our transaction accounts, and that's coming in the next few weeks. And we've already got the implementation complete, and that's just a matter of waiting on a few final requirements from ASIC. And our traction is that we have 40 plus users on our waitlist, 2 Canberra workspaces offering to collaborate, an intro meeting secured with a leading fintech investment firm, and we've also got an ASIC registered agent license, which enables us to register companies on behalf of others. And now Dan's going to talk a bit about how Revent works.
Thank you, Tom. So how does Revent work? We are not a bank. We partner with a payment provider who has segregated trust accounts and a partnership with a payment network, such as MasterCard or Visa. They provide, once we meet their requirements, they provide that package to us with the AFSL self-sponsorship. We also have the Know Your Customer partnership that reduces the time of identification Tom mentioned to instantly or within a day. And this is to further safeguard against anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing. We then build our apps on top of that transaction account, and we'll prioritize these based on our customers' feedbacks. So the team that will deliver this has quite a strong technical background. Tom and Will both have worked at Amazon as software developers, and I have been working as a business analyst for the past year and a half. We have all experience running a business, and in fact, Will has had a service that has reached 150,000 unique users. So the ask we are here for tonight, $15,000 to deliver a two-tier plan. Tier 1 will allow us to grow our registration business and to get a bigger share of the market and build trust with our future transaction account users. This will be done through design, implementation, testing, and marketing. Tier 2 will be to improve the banking application, which is going to speed up the integration process with the payment provider. We're also but Revent is not just an application provider. Revent is there to help the freelancers. So we'll also be self-funding meetup for freelancers to come and build the community. Talk about the other tools they use for their workflow. And stay tuned for that. We'll be announcing that, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. Happy to answer your questions now.
That's our that we're planning to give you the date in a few weeks.
Excellent, thank you. So, so this looks like a zero for freelancers, plus registration, business registration service.
Well, so it can be used in replacement to a bank account, essentially. That's the...
Okay, so can you walk me through the Know Your Customer partnership? What does it look like? Because I would be worried, as a regulator, that this can be misused.
Yeah, so what you have to do is, so essentially what we're doing is we're storing the money on behalf of users. So it's not like Xero where it's a bit of accounting software that sort of functions separately to your bank account. In fact, we noticed there are a lot of problems when you run a business with, for example, Xero will provide you a payment file that you then put onto Xero, so there's a lot of customer payment. So basically you can do all your finances directly from Revent, and we store the money, and the user doesn't even know this, right? But we store the money in these accounts which are in trust for the user. And that requires an Australian financial service license, which is the AFSL. Even getting that is a complicated process, which is why we have a payment provider who sponsors us. So they have the AFSL, which means they take on a lot of the financial risks in them.
So to add to that, the payment provider also has their own processes of anti-money laundering. They must comply. But the KYC is, for example, if you did with the new digital banks, it's a screenshot of your license and an image of your face, and they do the background checks. They provide that as a service. So together with the payment provider and our services, we can safeguard that.
So as a small business owner, so is this credit and cash? So it's credit and cash, not just one or the other?
So, in terms of like credit, do you mean applying for a loan, or do you mean a credit card?
Well, we do all our payments on credit cards, but obviously we have to have a cash to pay the credit card off.
Yeah, so credit cards could be a stretch feature, but it would just be a cash account, a digital money account. We wouldn't be offering any credit at an early stage.
That's one of the big challenges for small businesses, actually getting access to credit to pay big bills. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is follow a model where we can, through bookkeeping, we can get a really strong understanding of what the company's financial situation is. Because we know, for example, we know the difference between if they're selling an asset like property, plant, or equipment, and they're getting cash flows through that. So we know what the cash flows are and how their balance sheet looks. So that makes it really easy for users to then use this to apply for a small business loan based on their...
So you will help them do that, because one of the big challenges at the moment is if you're a small business owner, getting a loan is almost impossible unless you put your house up against it.
Yeah.
It's virtually impossible at the moment.
Yeah.
So do you help with that process?
Yeah, so we're trying to offer, so we're considering engaging a partnership to offer unsecured loans, and those unsecured loans will be based on cash flows. So there are a few companies that do that, like Prosper, Wooler, and small ones like Gromley. Yeah, so, and what they require is not your house, but they require a really detailed understanding of what your business, where your business is financially. And that's what we aim to provide, because we have all this, a lot of this accounting information right here. And it's actually our revenue source as well. So the way we're aiming to make revenue primarily is through loan referrals. So we're looking at charging a 5% loan referral fee, which is going to enable businesses, which will give a lender a really good financial understanding of the company, but also the opportunity to give a loan to a new customer that they might not have had previously.
Well done on the presentation. Can you go back to the photos of the team? I think, Tom, you might have to, if you're going to enter the finance world, you might have to go for a bit more of an austere, serious look, like laughing and smiling while you're saying, can you give me your money? But is it focused on the startups, or is it more on trying to get existing?
Yes.
Because the challenge is inertia, right? Like, you know, everyone knows that banks don't give you the best deal, but just the problems and, you know, the hassles you've got to go through changing your bank is the big issue in that market.
Yeah, so that's why we're targeting company and ABN registration. So you can basically, if anyone who's looking to register an ABN, can use our service to do it. And then it basically says, oh, you've got this business bank account ready for you to use. And from our customer validation, we've seen that that's a relatively strong value proposition to people. rather than having to go to a separate site. I'm sorry about that.